So yesterday we have done partly the introduction to the chapter 13, and we were doing the first verse. And the first verse in which Bhagavan is explaining, we were doing Shankarananda Tika. It was a little sort of tricky, and we'll simplify today because this is kind of the heart of Vedantic teaching. So Bhagavan says, Idam Sariram Kontiya Kshetra Mitya Vidiyate Etad yo Vittitang Prahu Kshetrajna Ititad Vidaha. Now this body is the field, Kshetra, and the one who knows it, that is Kshetrajna. What is Kshetrajna? The conscious self, the knower self, the Jnatri, the Jnata, that is Kshetrajna. The knower of this field, that Chaitanya Swarupa, that consciousness, that is the Kshetrajna. That means there is a distinction, there is an analytical division. Physically nothing is divided, but analytically, between what? There is what is called the drishya thing, what you are seeing and what is available for you to see and what you cannot see. But that is that particular thing which you cannot say is very much there. It's hidden in everything that you see, the Jada Varga. That Chetana, that particular consciousness, the knower self, is called Kshetrajna. So yesterday we had gone to a certain point in the commentary. What was the commentary? He's saying that, look here, whatever is drishya, whatever you see, whatever you know, that is the Kshetra. And he says, Kshetram iti tadvidaha, the ones who know this as the field, as the Jada Varga, that particular thing, those tattvavits, they are saying there is a Kshetrajna and there is a Kshetra. Now, the whole question we had discussed yesterday that Sattva, Tamas and Rajas, these three elements together constitute the Mula Prakriti. Now, the Mula Prakriti is Avikriti, there is no difference. But this Prakriti sort of manifests later on. It becomes Mahat and Ahankara, Mana, and then, all these Panchatana Matras, Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Panchabhutas. That is how sort of it manifests. And that is what, and all that is manifest, all that is a parinama, a metamorphosis, a transformation of that Prakriti that we discuss in chapter, when Bhagavan in chapter 7 explained that this is, which appears as Matvirnaha, different from me. It appears as different from me. What is this whole Jada Varga? That is Prakriti Ashtadha. This is how it is divided into 8 categories. And then he said the Para Prakriti, that Jiva Bhuta Chaitanya, that is what is my subtle, Sukshma Prakriti, and out of which everything sort of appears as manifest. But I am above all, that's what he had mentioned. So Prakriti is what? Drishya Jatam Sarvam Kshetram. Tad eva idam sariram iti Kshetra Savdena Anatma Swarupam. This is Atma and Anatma in Vedanta. The knowing guy, it's like that Drikshwarupa. There is, for example, just look at it. You are sleeping, you are waking up, you are taking care of your children, your office job, and your thoughts. You are saying, this is my thought, this is my work, this is my wife, this is my husband. There is somebody who is saying all this, doing all this. And who is that who is doing all this? Now, today's debate will be whether it is that mind, whether it is the body, whether it is your personality. Where is that self? What do you mean by self? When you say, I am, what are you referring to? You will say that I am X, but the name was given to you after your birth. So when you are born, you don't have any name, but you exist. So where is that I? What is the understanding? How do we find that I? So that is the charcha today. Now, either he experiences, this is my hand, this is my body, so that's how he knows that I am different from this body. Or the guru tells him, that is that there are 2 ways in which, or for example, there's a village person, he doesn't know a lot of Vedanta and Shastra, but he has a very good moral conduct, and he gets all the benefits. Whatever the Jnani gets, he also gets. In terms of Punya Papa, liberation he may not get, but slowly his Antakarana also becomes Suddha. That is what he is mentioning, that Drishya Jatasya, Veditaram aham pada pratyartham chetanam purusham kshetragya. So that you refer to as I know, this is me. That me is different from whatever you point your finger at and say, this is it. This is my book, this is my shirt, this is my face, my nose. These are all different from who I am. That is that Veditaram. Veditara, who is a Veditara? The one who knows. With, to know, to see. That particular Sakshi Chaitanya, that witness, that is what Kshetragya Atma iti Prahu. We had gone till that point, and we'll finish the commentary today. And it's very interesting. Pay whatever little attention you can, and it will become very interesting. Bahir antaha sarvatra drishyam. Now, drishya is what you see. Drishya is what is it's like a picture, the object of perception. Now, sometimes you see your own thoughts, you see some pain in your stomach, not through your eyes, but you feel it by seeing. By drishya, it's like a upalakshana for whatever you can reach through your indriyas. So there is some fever. You don't see the temperature, but you feel it, right? So that is also drishya. That is object of perception through any particular jnanendriya. Bahir antaha. So you see a lot of things outside. You also see a lot of things inside. Like sometimes when you're very tired, you're feeling a headache. You are experiencing, you have a headache. So you are being able to know that there is something in your head called headache. There is some pain, and you are perceiving it. You feel it. Through some measure, you are feeling it. So that is drishya. So it could be external or internal. Sarvatra drishyam sarva pratyakshadi pramanehi. So now there are certain things you may not be able to see it, but then you do anumana, inference. Now there is results are declared. And there are two girls coming out of a school. One girl is very sad. The other girl is all happy and smiling. So you infer the girl who is smiling is a good student. She has done very well in examination and she has got very good score. So she's happy. The one who is depressed or sad, you think, okay, she wasn't studying very hard. Same way, sometimes we also, like for example, sukha dukkha, punya papa, this word. Can you see papa punya? Somebody is a punyavan purusha. How do you know? You cannot know it. We infer, we derive how he's very happy, he's all the time prafulla, peaceful. If you look at him, you feel, then you think maybe there is nothing in him which is giving him any depression. He appears to be very quiet, very happy. If you look at the smiling Buddha, how peaceful he looks. So we say he's a punyavan purusha. That punya is being inferred. That's what he's saying. That is through anumana. So he's looking so peaceful and happy. So there must be something in him. There must not be any papa in him. Because otherwise, the papa can create some depression, some distraction, some restlessness. He doesn't have it. Therefore, he says he's a punyavan. So he's saying pramanadi, pramanehi, pratyakshadi, pramanehi. Pratyaksha is direct perception, sense perception. And, the anumana, upamana, and we have studied all that earlier. So there are other ways of knowing, either through direct sense perception or any other inferential knowledge, or from the book also, Sabda Jnana. So Atma Swarupa Jnaha. So that Kshetragya is who knows the Atma Swarupa, the pure nature of the self. What is that Swarupa? Swarupa is different from any other Upadhi Rupa. Swarupa means as it is. There is no change in it. That pure nature of anything, that is Swarupa. Okay, then we say, "Aapko uska swarup pata nahi hai." That means behaviorally he's a very good person. He presents himself or herself as a very good person, but by nature, he perhaps isn't what he appears to be. That's what we say. Uska swarupa alag hai. Now, Vedanta says the swarupa of all of us is Satchidananda Swarupa. But this is clouded with a lot of layers of so-called papa punya because of karma and because of upasana, some bad things, some good things. But these are coatings. That is not us. The Swarupa, all of us are Nitya Suddha, Buddha, Mukta Swabhava. That is our Swarupa. That is what slowly will go. So, Sakshat, now Kshetragya Atma iti Sarvatra Drishya Pratyakshadi Pramanehi Sakshat Vyavadhanenava. Either you directly know, like somebody is happy or unhappy, you see. And then Papa Punya Vyavadhanena, you infer. There is a gap between what you see. You see he's happy. Papa Punya you don't see. but you are doing some kind of anumana or inference. That is vyavahita. There is a gap between you and that particular thing. That is vyavadhanena va binaja yo vijanati. Either with some kind of prakriya, anumana, or without it. Jo bija, the one who knows, sa eva kshetrajna. That is the knower of this field. And what is that kshetrajna? The one who knows the kshetra. Kshetram janati iti kshetrajna. So kshetrajna atma. That is atma iti. Atma is different from manas or buddhi. We will discuss that all today. Tadvidaha, the one who knows that atma. Now there will be a question. You are saying tadvidaha means that is an external thing. We'll come to that debate. Atma surupa gyaha santo vadanti. Tadvidaha prahu. That is what Bhagavan says in this verse. So these are atmavits. Atmagyani purusha. Yadva, or in other words, tayoho khetra kshetrajnayoho. So there is a field and there is a knower of the field. There is Atma and Anatma. Anatma is the Kshetra. Kshetra is the Atma, the self. The self knows everything other than the self. I mean, it also knows self, also knows the self. That we will come to that point. But here, it knows where it dwells. It dwells in this body, this whole sansara. Everything is Kshetra only. Okay? Yadva tayoho. Kshen Kshetra gyayoho tayoho. Of them, Swarupam Gyaya Gyayatva, Gyatritva. You see, these dualities are being explained. There is a Gyayatva. What is Gyayatva? Gyayatva is what? Is one which can be known. That knowability. जो जानने का योग्य पदार्थ है वो ज्ञेय है. उसमें क्या धर्म रहेगा? जानने वाला धर्म रहेगा. जाना जा सकता है. It can be known. And that knowability is Gyayatva. That is the dharma. It's a Gyaya Padartha. It is knowable. What is the dharma in it? What is its nature then? Knowability. That is its nature. That is Gyayatva. Then there is a Jnata. You are saying that this is knowable. That means what? There is a knower. That knower is what? You. That's Satta Swarupa. So that knower is Jnata, the knower. Okay? So you have the Jnata and you have the Jnaya. So Jnayatva, Jnatritva. Then Prakasyatva, Prakasakatva. Now there is a torchlight. You're walking in a dark night. And the torchlight you put and you see there is a dog sitting by a roadside. But it looks like maybe it's very huge, so you think it's a wild animal. You put the torch. What is Prakasya? What has been lit up? That particular wild animal, appearing like wild animal, a dog. And what is the Prakashaka? The torchlight. Now, think about it. Now, shift it to Vedanta. What we see, all this sansara kshetra, that is what Prakashya. Who is giving Prakasa to it? That Jnana that we have. The Prakashaka is a lamp. Now, you will ask, who then helps one achieve self-knowledge? Who gives prakasaka? Then Vedanti will say Swayam Prakasatvat. It gives this. So, like for example, you don't need a torchlight to see a small lamp in a dark room. That lamp itself will provide light, and it will become self-evident. It doesn't require an additional external torchlight to be visible. It's visible by its very nature. The Jnata doesn't need any proof. Is there any proof required to prove that you exist? No. That you have a pen or not, you are checking your pocket. Whether you exist, do you check that? No. You know that you exist. So the Jnata is Prakasaka. Jnata is the knower self. The Jnaya, that Vastu, which you know, that is the Jnayatva, Dharma Visishta. You are Jnatritva, Dharma Visishta. Similarly, this particular object, all this sansara, everything other than us, that means everything other than the pure self. Or what is that? Prakashyatva. It is expressed, it is visible through what? Through our Jnana Jakyu. That light. So Prakasakatva is in what? In Atma. So Atma is Prakashaka and Jnatri, Jnata. Two things we have done. We'll go further up. Prakasya and Vikaritva or Vikaritva. Now, you see, what is Vikari? Whatever undergoes changes. This body undergoes changes. Mind undergoes changes. All these are vikaris. The Atma doesn't have any change, right? Like we have discussed, space inside a pot is pot space. Inside the book is book space. Ghatakasa, patakasa, pustakakasa, whatever you have, you add one. Then you are having a boundary line drawn around it and you are giving it a name. But it remains space. So you want Ghatakasa, you're saying, please give me that Pustakakasa and I give you this book. The space inside this book. Actually, is there something called space inside the book? Space is everywhere. I'm just giving this name, the book space. Yeah, that's a use of the word. But actually, there is no such thing as book space. There is only space. The book space is only a name. This name we are using for the purpose of convenience. Actually, it doesn't exist. So all these individuals, that all everything samsara fundamentally doesn't exist. What exists? That's Satya. That is what he is explaining here. Avikaritva. Atma is avikari. No changes. The vikari is rest of it. Okay, vikaritva adi lakshanehi. These are the descriptions, definitions to describe what? Two things. Atma and Atma. Who is Atma? You. What is Anatma? Everything other than you. That is Anatma. Parasvara vilakshanam. Atma and Anatma are opposed to each other, but they stay together. That is very interesting thing. Your consciousness inside your body is Anatma. Who stays inside, that consciousness is Atma. They're together. There is not a problem. Parasvara vilakshanam ye vijananti, the one, the wise, who know that this samsara appears as Chaitana, but is not. The Chaitana Swarupa is different from the Jada Swarupa, this whole Jadatmaka, Prakriti. Te tadvidaha, those guys who know that, though tad atmavidaha, te means who are they? The Atmabit. Tadvidaha, Atma Anatma Swarupa, Swarupa Gyaha. So they know what is Atma Rupa and what is Anatma Rupa. And what is that pure nature? Why by nature they are? They are this Tadvidaha, the Jnanis. Surupagya, Vasishtadaya is giving some example. Can you show me a person? He's saying Yoga Vasishta. Vasishta you can take up. Bhagavan Krishna is already present. We are dealing with him. And there are so many, several self-realized souls like Buddha or Mahavira Jaina, Sankaracharya. There are so many, right? In our everyday life, you can look around, you will find a lot of people like Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Swami Vivekananda, I mean, even all of us in our own ways, in a very limited way, we are all self-aware. And depending on how deeply our awareness has stabilized, we describe somebody as Jnani or Agyani. But these are names, because this is an evolutionary process. Never think you are completely ignorant. And even if you read many books or you meditate for hours, you should never think that you have got Atma Jnana, because it's a very, very evolutionary process. And there will be a day, of course, you'll realize you are there, but you don't have to worry about it. Parasvara Bilakhanam te tad vijananti te tad vidaha Atma Ananta Swarupa Rudha Vasishtadaya Gyayam Sarvam Anatma. Whatever is Gyayam, जो भी जानने मतलब जो ज्ञान योग्य है, that is Gyaya. Knowable, all that is Anatma. Because only that Sachidananda Chaitana Swarupa, that is Atma, the self. It knows. The knower is Atma. The known is Anatma. Try to understand like this. Sat Jnata, the Anatma Jnata, that is Kshetragya. To Atma Eva, that can only be Atma. Because Jada cannot know Jada. A table cannot know a chair. A chair cannot know the floor. And therefore you have to bring in consciousness. Okay, so Atma eva ahang padartha iti nigadanti ityartha. That ahang, that is self, that is what. But you know, there is a difference between when you say ahang padartha, that is that self. You refer aham gachami, aham pasyami. We say I am sleeping, I am sitting, I am reading. Now that ahang, whether you are referring to your mind, your buddhi, or your ahankara, or your Shuddha Chaitanya, then there is a lot of discussion on that. We are going towards that. Okay. So you have to find out, because we are now looking for what is that Atma. That is the challenge for us to know. So, Nanu, now the intelligent student who is slightly challenging, he is asking us, who is having doubt for Vedanta. In order to clarify doubts, what we have in our tradition, there will be a Purva Paksha. The writer himself will create a question, then he will answer it. So the student will clearly understand it. So he's saying, no, however, कार्य करण संघात व्यतिरिक्तो न कश्चिद अहम पदार्थो ज्ञात उपलभ्यते. आप कह रहे हो कि जो दिखता है वो आत्मा नहीं है, जो देख रहा है वो आत्मा है. What sees is the आत्मा, what is seen is अनात्मा. But who sees it? I see your body, I see you, but is there a knower? So he's not visible. मैं तो देख नहीं पा रहा हूँ, आत्मा है क्या? I cannot see it. That is the question. Then he will be answered. Then he's saying, कथम इदम शरीरम क्षेत्रम एतद यो व्यक्ति स क्षेत्रज्ञ इति उच्यते. Why are you saying ये शरीर क्षेत्र है? This body is the क्षेत्र, the field, the anatma, and the one who knows it is atma, is the knower, and that is kshetrajna. Why do you say like this? Where is that kshetrajna? I cannot see it. I only see the body. The Charvak says, that there is nothing called atma or consciousness separate from the body. The materialistic people, Charvak. So they are saying there are only four tattvas are there. They don't believe in pancha tattvas, panchabhutas. They're saying, that water, air, and prithvi, and teja, and fire. These are the four elements. Then how consciousness comes in? They're saying when you chew pan, red color comes. Where it comes from? Similarly, when you take some alcohol, you have nasa. Where nasa comes from? Similarly, when these body parts, this is a biochemical combination, it comes together, consciousness flourishes. In Western science also we have that. Okay, there is a biological model. There is only brain which is doing everything, right? A lot of people believe it's because of the brain. So you give some chemical, and a lot of people take a bit of ganja or something, and they look like great self-realized persons. It's all chemicals. That's what a lot of scientific people say. Charvak says the same thing. So he's saying, I don't see anything. Where are you getting this atma from? Kahan se ye atma aaya? Then let's discuss. What is the answer? Aham gacchami, aham bhunje. Okay, sorry. Kaschid katham idam sarvam khetram beti sa khetram iti uchyate. प्रत्यक्षादि प्रमाण विरोधात मुझे तो दिख नहीं रहा है. आप कह रहे हो एक आत्मा है जो अनात्मा को देख रहा है, क्षेत्र को देख रहा है, वो क्षेत्रज्ञ है. I can't see it. Where are you getting this concept from? Then he's being answered. Aham gacchami, aham bhunje iti gantavya bhoktavya padartha jnatritvam kriyakaranam sa sanghatasya vidrishyate. And that student is asking, मैं जा रहा हूँ, I'm going. Who is actually going? You are going through your body. You are eating. Who eats and how do you eat? Your atma is eating? No, your body. The food goes to your body. So whenever you use the word aham, I, you are referring to this whole body-mind complex. And if you say this body-mind complex is atma, I have no problem. But you are saying body-mind complex is also jada. The atma is different from this whole body-mind complex. And what is that? I can't see it. He has a strong doubt. Then he has to explain. Then he further goes on and on. Ayam etasya putro bhavati. Ye uska beta hai. This guy is Mr. X's son. Why? Etat sadrish satvad. Because he looks like him. Ram is Lakshmana's elder brother because they look similar. Or he's Dasarath's son. How? Because Ram looks like Dasarath. Somebody can argue like this, isn't it? Your daughter looks like you. Your son looks like you. Therefore, he's your son. So what is the similarity being compared? Who is compared with whom? Your Atma with him, his Atma? No. Her body, her looks are being compared with your looks. And your means what? Your body's looks, your physical person's looks. So the physical person, this whole mind-body complex, that is Atma. Don't talk about any pure self above it. That is the materialist viewpoint. So that is being brought in as a defense lawyer. In Vedanta, there will be always a defense lawyer. We call him Purva Paksha. Then he's saying, Ayu asaste yajamano aso iti sanghatasya eva ayur adi asa suyote. So there is a person who is sitting to do a puja because he wants to live longer. I want to live for 100 years. He's doing, and this ayu, that long years, or we wish each other, wish you many more years of healthy and happy life. This happy life is being wished to whom? The Atma or the body? Atma is Amara, you are saying, okay, I don't have any problem. But what is that Atma? Whom are you wishing happy birthday? Are you referring to something which is different from the body? The body has a birth. So you're wishing, I wish you a very happy birthday. That is that poor defense lawyer saying. So why are you bringing unnecessary, stupid things called Vedanta? It has no value. That is his question. Very strong question. Then he's being answered. Also, iti ada sabdasya pratyartha vachakatvad iti ched bhavan atra prashtavya. If a student argues like with you, the Vedanti says, okay, we have a few questions for you. He's asking, acha, theek hai. Now you are saying that this jnata is this karya karana sanghata, this mind-body complex. I have no problem, but I have a few questions. The Vedanta will ask. That is, we will ask him. That means Shastra will ask him. Our lower mind is asking this question. The higher mind will ask certain intelligent questions. That is how we'll remove the confusions of the lower mind, and the higher mind will come in, and then some more questions will come, and there will be another higher level of understanding which will remove it, isn't it? That is the process. So he's saying Gyata, then the Jnani, the Siddhanti, that is the prosecutor, the person who is representing the truth, the prosecutor, the defender of the truth. There is a defense lawyer and there is a defender of truth. The defender of truth, or Siddhanti, says, Acha, mujhe ye batao, tell me, Jnata atra deho, is it your body which is you are referring to as Jnata, Kshetrajna? Is it the body? Or Indriya Ganova, or you are referring to these 5 Indriyas you have, like Sparshana, Rasana, all these Indriyas you have, right? Are you referring to those senses? Then, Pranova, is it that breathing, that Prana Sakti you have, your breathing? Or Mano, your mind, Mana, are you referring to that? Or Buddhi, your intellect? Or Ahankara, Aham, you're saying Aham, are you referring to that ego self? Are you referring to ego? Or Uta Samudaya Va iti, or you're saying a combination of Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, Indriya, and Sarira together. This whole thing together is the self. Are you saying this? Now he'll answer. He said, look, I can refute none of this is Atma. How? One by one is refuting. Now Adhyaha. शरीर ज्ञाता नहीं हो सकता. शरीर ज्ञाता होता तो मरने के बाद भी जान सकता है, सोने के समय भी जान सकता है. Yes, the body is, if you're saying the body knows, the body can know. And there are 2 boys, why one will fail? Both of them are handsome boys. They are twin brothers getting to the exam hall. One fails, the other one passes. Why? Bodies are saying why they are failing. Why one fails, the other one scores high marks? No, it cannot be. Jnata cannot be the body. So that is first refutation. Swapa paravasyado dehasya jnana adarsanat. When a person falls asleep, body is there or not? Body is there. Does the person know anything? Do you know anything when something happens in the house where you are sleeping? You asked your daughter or son or friend or anything, okay, please do this. He's sitting next to you, please study. Then you fall asleep. And he is playing video games. Can you know that? You cannot know it. Body is there or not? If it is the Jnata, why it cannot know what is happening? So body is not the Kshetrajna. Refuted. Remember, it's beautiful process. Each one, body cannot be Atma. If body could be Atma, Atma hota, to सोने के समय भी जान सकता है क्या होता. Cannot know. Body refute. Failed. Body has been failed, dismissed. Then what? Second one is Indriyas, right? Nose, ear, and other. Then the Indriya, you can say Karmendra, Jnanendra, together will take. Pade me Vedana, Sirasi me Sukham, iti dehasya Sukha Dukha Jnatuhu Deha Anyatvena Upalabhyamanatvacha. Then also we say Mera pair me, there is pain. And then there is very sweet sensation in my mouth, like a baby is crying. There is an injection being given to the boy. The boy will cry, the mother knows. So she has carried with her a beautiful chocolate with lovely smell or fragrance. The moment the boy starts crying, she starts laughing, distracts the baby, puts chocolate in the mouth, and the baby starts laughing. Then it starts crying again. The baby is experiencing 2 things. He is experiencing some lovely taste on the tongue, in the mouth, and pain. in the thighs where the injection is given to the baby, right? Similarly, we might feel pain in the legs, but we are watching a movie and there is a good humorous dialogue and we might laugh, right? So the mind part is happy, but also it knows there is a pain in the leg. So then you are saying, who is knowing? It's not the body, because there are two different things being experienced in two different parts of the body. You are enjoying a good movie, but you suddenly sipped hot coffee and your tongue got burnt. So you are having pain in the tongue and you're having very good experience of your eyes because you're watching a lovely picture or a cricket match. So how can two indriyas experience two things? There is two different parts of the body experiencing two things. Therefore, you cannot say the body is the self refused. Next, is it the indriya saying no? Drishti me mandaha, vak me spasta, iti tad saustava asaustava parigyatuhu tad bhinnatvena abagamat. If indriya would be the knower, how can you use a sentence, mere aankh kharab ho gaye? My nose, I cannot smell. My nose is not being able to smell it. My ear cannot listen to it. My ear cannot properly hear it. Can't we say that? We do say this. My hearing ability is less. I can't hear this. But we sometimes say my ears cannot capture this. My eyes cannot capture this. So if your eyes were the self, आंख आत्मा होते, आप कैसे कह सकते मेरे आंख मंद है, मंद दृष्टि वाले हैं? So you are different from those eyes, right? Because if senses would be self, then a blind man, he doesn't have eyes, he doesn't have eyesight. He exists or not? So how can you say that indriyas are self? Refused. So indriyas are also failed. Now tritiyaha, now prana, right? We refuted body, then the indriyas, then is it the self? No, atma means prana sakti because it's breathing. Because if prana goes, we die. So atma is prana. Very good argument. That will be refused. How? Nidrado swapaha ajnana darsana. Now, when you are sleeping, you are breathing or not? We are all breathing, isn't it? Now, when a baby is sleeping, you are sleeping, your dad is sleeping, your son is sleeping, anybody, his life is there or not? Prana Sakti is there, prana is there. He's breathing, prana is there. She is breathing, prana is there. But he doesn't know that somebody entered the house, or there was a wild cat which came and drank all the milk or took all the sweets and left. You cannot know. That means what? How can you say the prana is jnata? Prana was there, could not know that a cat came and drank all the milk and left. What does it mean? Prana is not jnata. It cannot be kshetrajna. Prana now fails this particular test. They are not qualifying in this Olympics. This competition for claiming selfhood. Who will be the king? The Atma. Again, prana also fails. Dismissed. Now tritiyaha. Nidrado swapaha ajnana darsana. Then what is left? Mana and buddhi and ahankara. All three fail at one go. How? Na chaturtha, na panchuva, napi sastaha. Neither Atma is manas, nor buddhi, nor ahankara. How? We will reflect one by one. Good arguments given. Mano me bethitam, don't you say, मेरा मन अच्छा नहीं है? कौन कह रहा है ये? मन आत्मा है, तो मन कैसे कह सकता है कि मेरा मन अच्छा नहीं है, मेरा मन दुखी है? You say this. That means manas is not atma. Poor fellow, dismissed. Then buddhi. Then sometimes you also say buddhi me chapalaha, dusto me ahankara. Mera buddhi, I could not score very high marks because you see, my mind is very restless. My intellect is not very sharp. It's not focused. I don't have concentration. Don't you say this? Mera buddhi thoda absent-minded tha main. We say that. What do you mean? Who is saying this? Vedanta will say, oh, really? I have no problem. Who is saying that I was absent-minded? That means you are not the mind. Because you can know that you are absent-minded. That means there is somebody in you who's different from this whole bloody thing called mind. And who is that? That is not mind, right? Then mind is that buddhi is also is disqualified. And then ahankara. A lot of times you will find, so what happened? in the job interview. No, we had a very good discussion. And they asked this question and they say, can you join in a couple of weeks? And they said, we can give you only a 10% raise. And I felt very offended. And they said that I have to report to this guy. And this guy, I have 6 more years of experience. How can I report to somebody so junior? So, my ego got hurt. They hurt my ego. We say this, all of us. I have a bit of ego problem. We say that, especially all I have seen, whether you're married or single, ego problem you start experiencing right from teenage, isn't it? You start having arguments with elder brothers, sisters, or parents, and then office, then college. Then you have it with husband or wife and children, goes on. Now, if you are saying, I have an ego problem, I have a very strong ego, are you the ego? Atma ego hai? Jaan sakta hai? Then who is saying I have a strong ego? Who is that other guy? Then ego is not Atma. Ego is not saying I have a strong ego. There must be somebody else who is telling my ego is very strong and creates problems in my social or family interactions. Somebody else is saying this. He's using the mouth, he's using the mind, he's using the hands, but that guy is definitely different from, now we have rejected everyone. That guy is definitely different from the body, the indriyas, and the manas, buddhi, ahankara, right? And prana is all different from all the 6. What was the 7th one? Samudaya. A combination of all this is Atma. Karya Karana Sanghata. The whole conglomerate of everything that I mentioned, let's together their Atma. That will also be refused. What is the argument here? He's saying this. Jad gyam tat jadam. Whatever you know, that is jada. Okay? And then he's saying, Gyasya ghatadehe jadatva darshanat. Because you know a pot of pen, like I said, this is a pen. It is a jada. It is not chetana. This cannot be consciousness. Jadasya mana adehe gyatritva asambhavat. The mind, the buddhi on their own, they cannot do anything. First, we are referring, my mind is like this, my buddhi is like this, so there must be someone else. They cannot be chetana. They appear as if there is consciousness in them. They are all jada from Vedanta perspective. And we have proof because there is somebody who is referring to them. So the person who is referring to them is Chetana. They cannot be Chetana. They are not independent. Te sangtu tathatve ghatasyapi tathatvam syat. If mana, buddhi, ahankara, sarira, indriya, all these people become jnata, so kagal, kalam, the pen, the book, all they will start speaking. They also will have consciousness because they are also jnaya. You are seeing this. You are also knowing about your mind. If mind will become jnata, you are saying my mind is not well. Then you are saying mind can be self. So kitab, chair, ghadi, table, everything will become conscious in Atma. That is not possible. Therefore, they are all summarily rejected. Na eva sacha saptamaha. Gyatvasya ubhaya sadharananyat. What is the pen? Why is saying this? The mana is gya. You are saying my mind is not well. Mera buddhi kharab ho gaya. Mera buddhi naas ho gaya. We say this. Now these are all gaya because we are describing it in language. This pen also is saying this is a maroon colored pen. So they are all gaya. This manas and other thing and this external thing, they are all gaya. And ubhaya, these both are gaya, and therefore that is a commonality. They cannot be Atma. Gaya has to be jada. It cannot be Chetana. That is what they are finally saying. Naiva saptama, together also at sanghata, that is also not true. Why? A little complex argument here, but very simple, you can understand it. What he's saying, avayanam acetanatve tu avayavino api kasta bharavat acetanatvat yatritva anupapattehe. What he's saying is, let me say that I have these pens and pencils, okay? So there are 5 of them. This is achetana. This is achetana, this is achetana. All these are achetana. These are all jada, inanimate objects. I put them together. Will they become conscious? Can they have a self? No, they cannot have a self. Each one of is jada. How can they together? Like for example, you have a vehicle, different parts you put together. It becomes a car. Only when there's a driver it can run. That doesn't make it conscious. It is a samudaya, isn't it? There is an engine, and then it starts, it's behaving, it appears as if it has a body. It has virtually everything without consciousness. So that samudaya also, like a big, now you have robots, isn't it? They can do a lot of things, and this Vedanta will be challenged because now we're talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about AI, isn't it? So the religion and science, the boundaries are kind of melting down, because we are dealing with consciousness and issues and stuff like that. And a lot of physicists are also dealing with the issue of consciousness. We are right now dealing with Vedanta, but these are interesting questions to ask. But this robot, how does it work? This artificial intelligence, there's something called machine learning. So you are essentially providing a program so that that particular machine behaves as if it has consciousness. End of the day, there is a program. Something goes wrong, it will stop. It cannot move. It has no pure consciousness. And there is a conscious person who is an intelligent human being who is working on it. Then it programs it. It has a derived appearance of consciousness, derived appearance of conscious agency. It behaves like a Sachetana Karta. And this Kartitva is fed into that machine through a language, computer language, coding. And there is a hardware to carry that. Everything like a human being, except that Satta Swarupa, that Chetana, is not there. Right? So that's why he's saying samudaya also cannot be there, because there are 5, 6 jada things. You bring them together, however much they behave like a person, the consciousness is not there. Okay? Then somebody this student, the defense lawyer, has another interesting argument to refute Vedanta, and the Vedanta has to re-establish yourself. I'm not being very fast because these are interesting things. Not about the sloka, but this total argument is what is going to give us a very good foundation, Vedanta. Then he says, Tari Chaitrena Gyatasya Maitrasya Api Acetanatvam Prasajjeta iti chet. He's saying, look here, aap isse mat kaho. When a person Chaitra Maitra ko janta hai, when you say this, does he know the Atma of Chaitra? When Maitra is looking at Chaitra, Ram looks at Sham. Or let's imagine Amitabh Bachchan is looking at his son. Is Amitabh Bachchan looking at the pure consciousness of his son? No, he's looking at what? This whole samudaya. Then he is knowing that only. Then where are you bringing Atma there? He's saying this, so therefore Atma is not Jnaya. It is Jnata. How are you saying this? Because Amitabh Bachchan is Chetan. His son is also Chetana. He's also conscious. You see your brother, your husband, your wife, isn't it? They are all conscious people. When you deal with them, you're dealing with their consciousness. So why you say that consciousness is the knower? It cannot be known. Why do you say like that? They're saying, Ishtapatte. No, I don't have any problem. I have a full agreement with you. And I will explain from my perspective. Was it? Tad Ishtapatte. I have no problem. Ishtapatti in Vedanta means I have no problem. Okay? It's simple. Just keep it simple like that. Ishta apatti. That means, yes, I agree with you. I have no problem. Then he brings in his aspect. Chaitrena maitra sarirasya eva jnatatvat. When you look at your husband, when you look at your wife, when you look at your child, what are you looking at? His Atma? No, you're looking at his body. So what is Jnaya here? The body. The Suddha Satta Swarupa is beyond you. You will do Anumana. He will have a self. Is moving and this and that, but you cannot actually, that particular thing is beyond you. So he is looking at the body only. Jnatvat sarira ader acetanatvasya sadhitatvat na asmakam etadam anarthaya bhavati. So I don't have any problem. When you look at Maitra, your friend, your wife, your husband, you are actually looking at his mind, his body, his movement and everything. So that is what is Jnaya. Atma, that self, that still is Jnata. That is the known, which is you, that you're looking at your child or wife or husband or whatever. Kincha. Dehader Jnata, Deha Divya Bhinna Eva Bhavati. The one who knows the body is different from the body. The knower has to be different from the known. That is how it is. Bhavati. Jnatritvad, Ghata Jnatritvad. The way you know a pen, the knower of the pen, that is me, is different from this pen. Similarly, when you look at another person, you are actually looking at his body, which is jada, and you know it, not a problem. And the knower has to be different from the known, which is jada. इत्यादि युक्तिभिः चक्षुषो द्रष्टा, श्रोतस्य द्रष्टा, वाचो द्रष्टा, मनसो द्रष्टा, बुद्धेर द्रष्टा, tamasho drashta, sarvasya drashta. That Atma, the Upanishad, has a beautiful sentence is quoting. जो आंख को देखता है, जो कान जो श्रोत्रिय इंद्रिय है, उसको भी जो सुन पाता है या जो अनुभव कर पाता है, उसको भी जो देख पाता है, उससे भी जो समझ पाता है, जान पाता है. The one who knows or hears the hearing sense, and then who can even perceive this vacha sakti, that ability to speak, and who can see buddhi or intellect, and who can see tamoso drashta, even he can see everything. You are deep asleep and he's watching. That pure witness is Atma. That is what Upanishad says. Sarvasya drashta. Other than the self, everything else you are watching. And that you, that pure consciousness is Atma, the rest Anatma. Ityadi Shruti Bhischa Samyak Vicharyamani Khetrasya Anatmanaha Tad Dharmanam Tad Avastanam Cha Jnata Khetra Bhinna Eva Bhavati. So, looking at the Upanishads, all these things that you know are Anatma, Jadatmika, and you know them. Therefore, your consciousness alone, your means all of us. We don't have many Atmas. In Vedanta, we have one Atma, unlike Sankhya. And that alone is true. That is Sachetana. Different from Khetragya, a Khetra, and that is called Khetragya. So, Khetra and Khetragya are different from each other. Then, Bhavati, Natu Khetram Deha Indriyadi Lakshanam. So, this body, which is having body and indriyas, this body and senses, it cannot be the jnata. Tathatve mama idam sariram chakshu. Mama idam sariram chakshu iti sariradishu. Swasmin swabhinna jnanam nasyat. If this I, this body, this buddhi and other things will become Atma or the self, then you will not be able to use these sentences. You cannot speak in a certain way. You say, this is my I, this is my mind, this is how it is paining, my mind is not well, mera buddhi kharab ho gaya. These sentences you cannot construct. So you are different from all these. These are Jadatmika, Khetra. You are the Khetragya. Right? Therefore, you are saying, Swasmin Swabhinnatva Jnanasya. This particular thing that you are different, you know, that jnana. So viveki prasiddhatvad. So you know something else and you are the viveki. You are making a separation. You can see yourself as different from all that you see. Khetrat khetragya bhinna eva. See, the knower is different from the known. Khetragya is different from Khetra. Tata eva uchyate bhagavata. Bhagavan said that, sir, Bhagavan, what did he say? Idam sariram kaunteya khetram iti abhidhiyate. This is how it is known. Sarvagyena idam sariram. Sarvagya is what? That Atma. So Atmana, by the self, idam sariram khetram. Etad yo beti sa khetragyati. The one who knows this body is mine. That's how you are saying. Therefore, you are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not your emotions. You know, this is the best medicine for any depression or any sadness you have. Vedanta is a quick medicine. Well, how is it that? Because Vedanta will clearly explain, you are not your actions, you are not your body, you are not your mind, you are that pure self without name and form. The depression that you have, the anger you have, the papa chetana or punya chetana you have, good thing you have or bad thing you have, money you have or poverty you have. Is it you? Is it you? Where are you? You are not in none of this. And there is some depressing thought. There is an event. That event has a relationship with whom? Your mind. But you are not your mind. Somebody humiliated, there is a bad experience. That experience is not you. Once you start feeling like this, it's possible for you to say goodbye to a very painful past. And also, close your eyes to however beautiful and rosy the future might appear. You can, in a very loving, compassionate way, peaceful way, embrace the present. What is right before you? What is that? That Satta Swarupa that you are, you will enjoy it. You will do everything, but you will be able to minimize all false depressions and thoughts and angers, right? That because you are none of your things. There is some wrong things that have happened through you. You should not break your head. What you could not achieve in life, who didn't achieve in life? What is there to achieve for the pure self? The all outside things, the mind, the body, they are getting involved. That is fine. But always remember, you are above all this. And that is always ever pure. And you can reconstruct because of some bad impressions. There are some options for the self-knowledge, and that bad impressions have to be removed. Okay, you will remove it. But you need not look back, feel depressed. That is Vedantic secret to happiness. Okay? So, Khetragya iti. Tvad uktam pratyakshadi pramanam aviveki visayam ataha na kaschid atra virodha. So, that is saying that whatever you see through the direct sense perception or inference or anything, they are all aviveki visaya. That means they are achetana. The object of knowledge is not jnata swarupa. It is not the knowing thing. No. The defense lawyer has one more doubt. What is that? He's asking. No, Khetrad Vyatiriktah Khetragyo Nama Khetra Jnata Ayam iti na kaschit upalabhyate. बार बार आप क्षेत्रज्ञ करते हो, लेकिन है कहाँ? Where is he? Show it to me. Where is that क्षेत्रज्ञ? I can never know it. And how do you say that there is a क्षेत्रज्ञ, that self? Where is it? Upalambha bhava tadabhava eva iti chet. Because I can never get it. I can never touch it. I can never feel it. How can I believe it exists? So let me reject it. I cannot believe in something stupid thing. The materialistic people, क्या आत्मा आत्मा कर रखे हो? कुछ नहीं है. मंदिर जाओ, कृष्ण को भोजन करो, कपड़े पहनो, गाड़ी में घूमो. वेदांत में क्या आत्मा क्या है? कहाँ? तुमने देखा? Where is Atma? Oh, the Upanishad says, okay, the Upanishad people have written some stupid things. You're wasting your time. Why are you wasting your time? No need. So it says, then he's saying, Ched Bhavan Atra Prashtabhya. Then you ask that fellow, that friend, okay, my dear friend, please come, let's have a discussion. King Khetra Bhava Ucheta Tatra Khetragya Bhava. आत्मा नहीं है, किसको रिफर कर रहे हो? यहाँ क्षेत्र नहीं है या क्षेत्रज्ञ नहीं है? The Vedanta is a very tricky guy. He's very intelligent. What is the question he's saying? Tell me, his kshetra is there or not? You see the body? Fine. And that fellow is saying, I have a body. If there is a kshetragya, there has to be a kshetragya. Kshetra hai to uska kshetragya hoga. Whoever knows it is the kshetragya. So he's asking, wahan kshetra. Kim kshetra bhava uchyate uta kshetragya bhava iti. क्या कह रहे हो? शरीर नहीं है कि शरीर का ज्ञाता नहीं है? शरीर है, कोई कह रहा है मेरा शरीर, तो उसका कोई ज्ञाता है. So why are you doubting there is no Atma? Who is saying ये मेरा शरीर है? आत्मा नहीं है, कौन कह रहा है ये? That is Vedanta's question. Who is telling this is my body? No adyaha. You cannot say that the body doesn't exist, that this world doesn't exist, material world. Pratyakshana upalambha manasya Khetrasya abhava kathana ayogat. You cannot talk about the absence of something which you can feel, you can touch, like this pen, like this nose, like body. I can see all this. This is the field. That is Khetra. I cannot say it doesn't exist. Then Khetragya. You will say, who is describing all this as Khetra? Is Khetragya. So if Khetra Siddhi is there, Khetragya can be Siddha also. Because you can talk about object of knowledge. Object of knowledge, please mark my word. Object of knowledge means there is a knower, because you have used the word object of knowledge. ज्ञान के विषय कोई देखने वाला है, कोई ज्ञाता है, तभी तो ज्ञान का वो विषय बनेगा. ज्ञान का विषय किसी को बनाने के लिए कोई एक जानने वाला तो होना चाहिए. That is that शुद्ध चैतन्य स्वरूप. That is आत्मा. न द्वितीयः क्षेत्र उपलब्धुः क्षेत्रज्ञस्य अभावे इदं शरीरम् अयम घटः पटो अयम इत्यादि दृश्य प्रत्यय अभाव प्रसंगात. If there is no knower, You cannot use what we discussed right now. You cannot say, this is my body, this is this pen, this is a book, and you cannot use this. These are drishya. This is what is known, and therefore without it. So Vedanta again establishes that क्षेत्रज्ञ आप नहीं देख पा रहे हो इसलिए नहीं है, आत्मा नहीं है क्योंकि आप नहीं देख पा रहे हो, ये सिद्ध नहीं है. This is not a good argument. Then he will come back with certain other argument. क्षेत्रज्ञेन खलु सूर्यवत्, then he is explaining क्षेत्रज्ञेन खलु सूर्यवत् सो महसा महद आदि स्थूलांतम दृश्यजातम बहिर्अंतर व्यापी इदम सर्वम भास्यते idam idam iti sarvam jnayate cha. So by that atma, the way the sun comes out early morning, then it describes this whole universe. You can see the birds, the trees, the roads, everything, right? Sunlight comes. Similarly, this atma becomes the prakasaka, it describes everything through its ability to see things, because it is satta chaitanya swarupa. And then this whole thing, then he's saying Surya bhavavat, if there is no sun, Kshetrajna bhave jagat andhyam prasajyeta. कोई जानने वाला नहीं है. Can you say jagat हो सकता है? This is a very good answer, the question. Please think about it. कोई जानने वाला नहीं है. संसार है, रहेगा नहीं रहेगा. You ask yourself. If there is nobody, there is no consciousness, will the world exist? If it will exist, who will say it will exist? How can you prove? Who will prove? How is it relevant? Without consciousness, this is what Vedanta asks. And these are very strong arguments. These are very deeply philosophical arguments. This is not blind belief. Koi kitab mein likha hai. No, these are strong arguments. He's saying, without jnata, can there be jnana? Jagat hai, कौन कह रहा है? कौन कह सकता है ज्ञान होगा तब भी? और ज्ञान है तो कोई ज्ञाता है. So आत्मा होगा तभी जगत है. Without consciousness, this world cannot exist, because the world exists. If you put that sentence, that presupposes somebody said that, somebody described it. That sentence was constructed by somebody. Who is that? Consciousness, either at an individual level or collective level, but there is consciousness. So that is how the consciousness is proved. Atma is there. So that is what Vedanta is proving. Okay? Idam idam. Okay? Anyatha tu antar mahadadinam bahir ghatadi padarthanam. What is inside? Mahad, that buddhi, ahankara, mana, all that it sees, and outside all the objects. Ghatadi padarthanam, whether it is a book or person or a boy or a car or a star or a moon. Sukhadi pratyanam, and all the experiences of happiness and sadness. Jagrat adi avasthanam cha swarupa viveka vijnana bhava prasangat. Then you cannot even experience anything. The sansar will not exist without the knower. Therefore, atma hai. Atma nahi hai, aap nahi kar sakte hain. Okay? Then pratyakhyadi sarva pramananam adi pramayanam. This ahankar, that particular thing you're saying, I know this. Okay? That I have this ego, whatever you describe in this whole sansar and everything. Sarve sang pramanyam yataha siddhyati. All this can be proved as existing only if there is a knower. Atma hai, to baki sab kuch hai. Atma nahi hai, kuch nahi hai. Why? Hai karke bolega kaun? Koi hoga tabhi batayega. You have to have somebody to say the world exists. So if there is no self, there is no sansara. That is what Vedanta says. So consciousness becomes primary. That is the beauty of it. Yata siddhyati tad abhavah kena sampadetum sakyate. How can you say that the self is not there? Because of self, everything is there. Without Atma, nothing exists. Tad abhave swabhava prasangat. Because without that Atma, without that knower, the reality which you know cannot exist. Because who will say that it exists? The presence will be established by whom? What will be proof? It will become a nirarthaka prashna. It will be a useless question. Now, there is a word called chidabhasa. Okay, we have crossed the time. There is a little more argument, and then we'll summarize. I'll stop here because I've crossed the timeline we have, and we'll take it further tomorrow. This is a very interesting part. So I'm going slow, and I'm terminating the YouTube. And if you have any doubts, you can ask, and we'll do Santi Mantras.